NBA, we've got a huge Game 5 at Oracle tonight between the Warriors and Rockets. The home team has won all 4 games so far. James Harden has been battling eye problems, but he's still averaging about 36 points per game in the series for Golden State. Kevin Durant is also averaging 36 per game, but Steph Curry has been struggling, shooting just 26% from 3. So we're joined once again by Rob Parker. Rob, who you got for this one? Who wins?
I'm going with Golden State, and I said this before the playoffs started with Golden State. I said this was going to be the Raggedy Andy edition of this team, that they're not going to run over everybody. It's going to be a little bit of a struggle because it's such a long run with these guys trying to play all these playoff games and all that.
Could you quickly explain Raggedy Andy to our viewers, please?
Yeah, to the millennials. Yeah. Well, there used to be a dog called Raggedy. Right? What was her name? Raggedy Ann?
Raggedy
Ann.
I think I had it.
And then they made Andy was the boy.
Okay.
It was like a little straw doll, right, with overalls.
I think I had a Raggedy Ann.
Right?
Yeah.
And there was Raggedy Andy. So
Okay.
It was Raggedy Ann and Andy.
yeah, there you
You
go.
can kind of toss them around.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
So that's why I say that. You're right, Skip. I should
Need to get a
explain.
photo.
But
Got it.
that's what I'm saying is like I'm not surprised. And yes, they went to Houston. You would hope that they could have won one game and then they would have dominated the series, come back and finish it out. But that Houston went and won 2 close games at home. And Steph has been struggling from 3-point.
Yes.
Now both of them, KD and Steph, had over 30 points.
Right.
In Game 4, they came back in the fourth quarter and then they lost at the end. So it's not like they got blown out or blown off the court.
They were in danger of it.
No, but they came back.
They were down 17 mid-third.
Right.
Not like the Rockets hadn't gotten blown out in Oracle either.
Right. So, but I still feel comfortable that ultimately you can't beat them 4 times in a 7-game series. So last year we know it went 7 games. I wouldn't be surprised here if it goes 7 games. Could be 6 if they can really handle this and then go back to Houston and win. So I'm not that disappointed. And the other one is Clay and Steph both need to break out. Those 2 guys just haven't been knocking down their threes. And if Clay gets hot, which we've seen him get hot and put on shows, and Steph can just be more like Steph and not the guy that we've seen.
Because Steph and Clay, they're coming. They're back home. You normally shoot better in your building. Can those 3 offset the production that they're going to get from Clay and Steph and then turn it into a real auxiliary game where you force it to your bench? Because I like Austin Rivers, I like Gerald Green, I like Nene better than Livingston and what they're going to bring off the bench for the Warriors.
I do too. I said before the playoffs started, somebody was going to get Golden State before the playoffs, but before the finals. And somebody could be Houston, and the game to do it is tonight, Game 5. I'm just not sure Houston could win a Game 7. It may come down to Game 7, as you suggest. And if it gets that far, I'm going to have grave doubts about Houston's chances. Tonight is the night because they just won 2 close games, but they did have a 17-point lead in Game 4. And they did impose their physical and psychological will on Golden State. And as Steve Kerr said after the game, it's middle linebackers versus volleyball players because Houston's got some middle linebackers. And Golden State's Hampton 5, starting 5, is playing extremely high minutes, as you keep pointing out. And they're getting worn down just from the wear and tear of the minutes, but also the physicality of playing the middle linebackers. There are 2 teams that are troubled right now in the playoffs, and they're both going to be on display tonight. And the reason they're troubled is because the star on each team, we all assume, is going to link up with the star on the other team, and they're going to go probably to the New York Knicks. And I'm talking about KD and Kyrie. The teams are troubled because both teams believe that the star has 1 or maybe both feet out the door. And it's hard to win big playoff crucial basketball games when you're not sure if you're all together or not. And obviously the Celtics have just quit on Kyrie, and I think we're going to see the end of that mess tonight in Milwaukee.
But Skip, I'll say this. I think the tables have turned in Golden State from this standpoint. I think people looked at when KD first went there that he needed them to be able to win the championship that he won, right?
That's true.
But now I think it's different because Clay and because Steph, they need KD in order to win.
Okay, to your point, they have changed the way they play offensive basketball.
True.
It doesn't look the same. Kevin went there because he loved how they shared the ball.
Absolutely.
It doesn't move the way it used to move, the way it has for most of this dynastic run with KD. I don't see the flow. I don't see the rhythm. I don't see the offensive chemistry because too much of the time it's like, KD, are you going to go or not?
Right.
And you don't see Steph and Clay get into that shooter's flow where the ball's just moving and moving and they're completely unselfish and there's no your turn, my turn. Whoever's turn it is just who gets the open look, the open look. And they shoot it with such conviction. Now Steph and Clay are like, should I?
But what separates KD is that KD is a very unique individual, more so than Clay and Steph, because they're not really getting shots off the dribble.
No.
Kevin Durant can go get any shot he wants.
And a lot of times, that's what they just do. Just go.
He doesn't need a pick. He doesn't need a screen. He doesn't need a pin down. He don't need anything.
Because he can rise up over anybody. Over two.
Yes. Clay, now we've seen Steph now, hit the step back and all that.
Yeah.
But that's really, he sitting there setting picks for him. And so the thing the dynamic for them is that when KD gets it going early, like he's gotten it going, Skip, how do we interrupt that and run the flow? Because Kevin Durant is going 5 for 5 in the first quarter.
Yep.
He's having 20 points, 22 points at the half. So do we get in the way of that just so we keep the continuity of what we do, ball movement, or do we let him do what he does? Because in all those game threes in which he hit those shots, they said, okay, go ahead, bro, handle that. He's bringing the ball up the court, and they got no problem because we've seen it before. In the Clipper series, what do? They throw the ball there. Go ahead, KD. Do what you're going to do.
Right.
We don't worry about it. They don't worry about the ball movement then, Skip. We don't care anything about ball movement. Go do what you do.
He saved them twice on the road at Staples. He just took the game over solo.
But what about Steph and where he is now? I mean, people talk about his impact on the game and people trying to copy. But as time has gone on since KD has been there, to me, he's taken steps back.
Okay.
I look at him, I don't look at him as the same threat. Those shots that used to go down from midcourt, he just would pull up, those aren't going down anymore.
No, Skip. I don't, Rob, I'm going to disagree. I don't push back on that. I don't think he's taking a step back. It's just Kevin Durant's taking 2 steps forward.
Okay. But do you feel the same way about how dependable Steph is? Because I've seen games where I don't think he's as dependable or as dangerous. They don't
put him in that situation. More times than not, if it's a last-second shot, we know who's getting it. It's 35.
Well, you know who took the first last-second shot the other night?
Yeah, it's going to be 35. So it's where he was, for the most part, he was going to be 1 or 1A between he and Clay. Now, he's 1A, 1B because Kevin Durant's taking that shot. And you want the ball in his hand because, like I said, you don't have to run someone to pick someone for him. He's 7 foot tall. He can rise up and shoot the ball at the apex at 10 feet.
And to Rob's point, through the first 4 games of this series, Steph Curry has made 26% of his threes. That's pathetic by his standards.
That's 47, right?
It is. It is worse than Russell Westbrook.
And that's what I'm saying. When I look at him, I don't look at him as the same threat.
Well, he's a rhythm shooter, Skip. And like I said, look how KD has gotten it going early. When a guy goes 5 for 5, he has 12 points. You don't get in the way of that. What do you say? You always hear, he had it going, so we just kept feeding him. Well, KD is getting it going. So if you keep feeding him, the more you feed him, you lose your rhythm. Plus, he's gotten in foul trouble. Remember, Skip, he had back-to-back games in which he had 5 fouls. So not only can he not get a rhythm when he's on the court, he can't get a rhythm because he's off the court because he's in foul trouble. And KD just keeps it going.
Okay, so far, Houston's made 66 three-point shots in the first 4 games. Golden State, 40. 66 to 40.
Wow.
That's plus 78 points for Houston's three-point shooting.
Right.
That's why it's still very close.
Right.
Because really, Golden State is shooting itself in the foot for the most part.
But Daryl Morey will take that. Daryl Morey says, we built this team to shoot 50-plus threes a game. We don't believe the Warriors can beat us making 2s.
Okay. Well, that's what's been happening.
Linebackers and volleyball players.
But we all got Golden State tonight, right?
No.
Oh, you're picking?
Yeah, I got Houston. I think this is the best shot for them to break through, so I'll take it.
Remember, we bet game 3.
Yeah.
And you had Houston and I had Golden State.
Yeah.
I'm paying up.
You won a bet from Rob Parker?
Tell him how many wings I win.
50 wings right there. He won. He finally got back at me.
Come
Give him lemon pepper.
He don't have
Make
to
a
ask
bet.
me, right? He didn't have to ask me for the bet.
Lemon
it.
pepper,
Are
Skip.
you going to eat
Owns
50
it.
wings?
God, yeah, Mike.
What time are we having lunch?
What you mean the we? This ain't no we. This ain't no we. This is a me.
He's going all
You're going to eat 50 wings?
Maybe 25 and 25.
You're going to go
a break.
Joel Embiid here?
I think we need to see that.
Don't say I don't pay up my bet.
I think
Wow,
we had
that's
100.
impressive.
No, we didn't have 100.
Hey, Healy, get that tape. I think we had
You
100.
said 50.
No. We
I'm trying to
amended it.
get back because I won the 300.
That's
Healy,
So
we
now
gonna pull the
it's-
tape. We gonna pull the tape.
I'm telling
How,
you, it
how
was
much does
50.
50 cost? I don't know.
$50. That's what you got.
$50?
What, $50?
For 50 wings. How much do you want?
I paid like $700.
No,
for
you
your
paid 300 for the 300.
What kind of wings
What
are
kind
you
of wings are
eating?
you
Just
buying?
take it and enjoy it. Earlier in the debate, Skip, you mentioned the possibility of Kyrie and KD. But
I
what
did.
if Kyrie ends up reuniting with LeBron
Uh-oh.
Nope.
here in LA
Nope.
this summer?